Hey, it's Danny Tato, and welcome to another episode of How to Dwarf Fortress, our tutorial series here, where we're going through some of the basic kind of systems and setup of this wonderful game, Dwarf Fortress. Last episode, we talked about quite a bit, actually. We talked about stockpiles, setting up specific stockpiles. We have our stone stockpile over here, a woodman over here. We talked about adding barrels, talking about adding wheelbarrows, setting up rooms, setting up pretty complex work orders for things. We have a few of those set up, so if you want to really look into that, check out the last episode because we set up a few things. You know, we got doors, beds, making some drinks, and some barrels so we can make those drinks and store them already set up. There's plenty more we can definitely do with that, but we're going to kind of keep it pretty simple here and just kind of forge on ahead. So this episode, we're actually going to focus on zones. We've talked a little bit about it. If I'm not mistaken, we set up obviously some bedroom zones here, a couple office zones. We have a generic kind of meeting hall here just to get everyone off the surface, as well as, you know, kind of in relative safety from the, whatever might be going on the surface. We also have a pen and pasture that we set up here for some of our animals. We still are with our initial 7 dwarves. I do expect pretty soon we should be hitting our first migrant wave, so we'll deal with that. And as we're dealing with that, what I did in between episodes here was I went ahead and made a whole bunch of extra bedrooms, just queued them up, just in between episodes because it's kind of boring to do. And I'm just following the same exact pattern as I did for the previous 7 bedrooms. So that way, when we do get the migrants, we're not like scrambling trying to set up, people, having, being happy enough to have their own bedrooms and things like that. It's a nice little buff to their happiness. So we'll keep the beds going, keep everything going, keep the doors and all that, and we'll fill these up in a little bit. What I want to do is I want to go down one level from our workshop level, and a lot of times on this level I would put like generic stockpile and like start storing everything here. I think for the purposes of this series, I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple of really important zones. So one would be our dining hall, which can also end up doubling as a sort of like inn or tavern for other entities that travel through the world and are coming by. They might hear about this tavern or this inn and be like, hey, I want to like rest my head here. Maybe I want to like check out some rumors, figure out there any like cool artifacts around that I can maybe some various heroes can get their hands on and things like that. And in fact, it actually opens up the world, the fort to the world of criminals. People may come in as disguising themselves as a certain person, but they're actually like a thief or something like that, and they're looking to steal, and so they'll sort of get some of your dwarves drunk and ask questions and see what they can find out. And it's a real thing. I'm not like, that's not editorializing. That is literally what happens. It's pretty awesome. So we're gonna set up our dining hall here. So if you notice this yellow cursor, it's just because I have the keyboard cursor turned on, so just kind of ignore it. I'm mostly going to be using my mouse for this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go, let's say, I don't know, like maybe 5. Yeah, we'll go like 9 across. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then 1, 2, 3, something like, what are we, 12? Hmm, one over. Keep it kind of symmetrical here. Um, let's go with this. All right, what size is that? I didn't even get it. 11 by 10. So we'll go with that. Queue it up, and because I have all those other bedrooms set up, I am gonna go ahead and just make this a higher priority. So they'll do this first again for the sake of the video, and just seeing how we do this. So one of the things I actually like to do here, I'm gonna pause for 1 second, is I like to rooms are given value based on their surface area and then the things in it. If you smooth all the walls, the more edges of wall that you have in a room, the higher the value, right? So oftentimes I'll like to like do something like this just to increase the surface area just a little bit, and then I might even do something like this, and just like undesignate part of the meeting hall, the dining hall, and in here I could put statues, I could put slabs, memorial slabs if we have some dwarves who have died, which I'm sure will never happen to you. Coffins, whatever, anything cool that we want to put there. Maybe some cool legendary artifacts that we've created or come across or whatever we want. So yeah, so I like to add that in there just to increase the surface area, especially when we smooth everything. It just increases the value. Higher value rooms give more positive buffs to to your dwarves as they sort of enter them and utilize them. And the dining hall is one they are absolutely going to use, you know, a ton, like all the time. It's the places where they come to drink, come to eat, come to talk. And again, if you set it up as a sort of inn or tavern, it's the way they can also learn about the rest of the world and gather some news. Let's go ahead and clear a few of these notifications. All right, so we're gonna build a door. So I'm gonna go B P R, place a door right here just to get it done and queued up. And someone should come immediately, apparently, and go ahead and place a claystone door there. And then what we're gonna do here is once they clear some of this out, we're gonna start building some tables and chairs. And it is very important you pay attention to the layout of your tables and chairs. One of the most common things I see, especially if you're on like the Dwarf Fortress subreddit or anywhere really where Dwarf Fortress people, you know, post things, stories and whatnot, is tavern brawls. You know, you just show up and there's blood and vomit and just everything everywhere. And there's a few reasons why that might happen. And one of them is if you have 2 chairs for every 1 table. So you have like 1 table and then around it 2 chairs. Let me give you a visual real quick of what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and build a table here. Let's build it right in the middle. And then we're going to build, forget some of my shortcuts here, build a chair. If we build a chair here, we're fine. If we build chairs like this, okay, this is going to cause a problem. Whoops. What's going to happen is 1 chair can reserve 1 table. So if I have and I do have a chair here, you can't see it because of the little claystone, but there is another chair here. What will happen is 2 dwarves, if they queue up these chairs, they're both going to end up getting in a fight over this table. Okay, and that causes big problems, and then people are fighting, and then someone else gets hit, and now it's a huge thing. It can be a huge tantrum spiral. People can die from tavern fights, and then all the family members of the deceased get sad, and then, you know, they start going crazy, and then they die, and then, you know, everyone else gets sad even more, and it spirals out of control. It's called a tantrum spiral. So you want to avoid that as best you can. I hit the wrong button over here. Let's just get rid of all this here. Or not. Let's cancel it this way. I know there's a way to do it. I'm just blanking right now, but it's fine. So what I want to do, what I normally will do, is when I build my tables, is I double up like this. I think that's roughly symmetrical. And then build furniture. Wrong button. Why did I build a table? Chair is R. That's why. And then I put my chairs along the outside like this. So if you notice, every chair has a single table that it is assigned to. Okay. There's other ways to do this. Some people will set it up, you know, just like 1 table over here, and then a chair like this, and then like do another table over here and just separate them out. That's fine too. I mean, whatever works for you, whatever you like. Where is the button to like? Seem to be blanking. It's not that. I guess I'm just going to manually do it for now. I know there's a way to do it, but I'm just totally blanking on the button for that. Whatever. We'll figure it out. All right, let's go ahead and unpause here. It looks like they've dug everything out, which is great. They will eventually, of course, clean up these stones and ores and whatnot as we place stockpiles and have space for them. So that's great. So they're going to fill this out with furniture in a moment. We obviously need some tables and chairs, so we'll get that going. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and set up this zone so that all the dwarves know, hey, this is where you go to eat, this is where you go to party, so on and so forth. Okay, so we're going to click on the zone button over here, and we are going to make sure that we set up a dining hall here. Okay, and it says here, your citizens will eat at the zone when not assigned to a particular citizen. Citizens without their own dining hall will eat here. Tables and adjacent chairs should be included. So we'll go ahead and just drag out this whole area. I like to include the door as well. Again, we're trying to maximize some of the wealth. I mean, you don't have to, but I like to maximize some of the wealth. It just makes it a higher level zone for them, and they get happy thoughts from it. So, and then we'll accept, and we have our dining hall. Okay, it's unnamed. You can name it up here if you want. Just hit the button, and you know we can name this the drunken jurist. There we go. And we'll call it that for now. And then eventually what we can do is we can set this up as a location. This is where you would set it up as an inn or a tavern. Now, again, if you do this, this may, depending on the settings you click on, may open it up to other world entities. So I can click on inn or tavern here. look at the details, and immediately says all visitors are welcome. I can also set it to citizens and long-term residents only. So people will ask to join your fort, and they may kind of stay for a while before they're officially a citizen. So it could be for them, or this could only be for citizens of this fortress only. So you can play with that if you want. Again, now it's named this a different name for what we named a zone. It would have the name the Saffron of Ships. Again, that's totally randomized. You can change this as you see fit. But yeah, so you can also do it this way. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave it to all visitors welcome. It's going to add some, quote unquote fun. We'll just let kind of people come and go as they wish. Probably not going to be too many early on, but eventually we will start getting some, or we may get some right away. It kind of depends on the world you have generated. So if you're not seeing a whole lot, it could be you're in an isolated spot, on a different continent, so not a lot of people are coming by. Just various world entity kind of creation variables. For example, in one of my Let's Plays I did a while ago, we had a lot of just weird creatures, just weird demon spawn people that necromancers had raised and things like that. Ooh, we have some damp stone by this bedroom. Interesting. Why is that? Oh, because there's a pond right above it. That's fine. We'll probably just make this a smaller kind of bedroom. You don't want to dig through damp stone, because if this were truly with a lake above it, and we open this up, it is possible water would flood in here, and then we would have a flooded fort, and we don't want that, because, that kills people. All right, immediately we have a Magpie Man Bard that is visiting. So, like I said, you can get some pretty cool creatures joining. We also have just a Bard, which I assume this is a Dwarven Bard. Let's click on the Magpie Man. I want to see well, this is going to show us where he was. Let's see if we can find him without having to go look for him. This might have been a little while ago. Let's go to other here, and we can see our Magpie Man right here. Super awesome. There's what he looks like, a nice little portrait. Again, that was added in one of the more recent updates. 46 years old, disdains peace, wasteful, quick to love, creative, values nature, and he's polite. No official position. You can see some deities that he follows, and he has a master, which is pretty interesting. Currently a member of the Bronze League, which is a government for some sort of site. Any kills? None. No recent thoughts or memories. Great creativity, so on and so forth. I love the depth they have here. What's he wearing? Some gloves, sandals. He has an instrument. Again, he's a bard, so that makes sense. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, you get some pretty interesting guys showing up. Oh, there he is. Look at him. Awesome. Yeah, so you get all kinds of cool people coming. Again, he that could not be who he is. That's just who he says he is, right? He may have some ulterior motives. We'll have to figure that out as we go. But we don't have anything of value right now, so we're not super worried about it. But it is cool. And there he is. He's parked himself in here, and eventually we may see that he's saying. So he's talking right now. He's socializing, and eventually you may see some other things going on here, singing songs, reciting poetry, things like that. They may even dance, and you'll see them kind of all moving in different patterns. It's really cool. Super fun stuff to do with these types of zones. So eventually you may want to connect a kitchen and a still over here, have a stockpile of mugs and drinks and food and things. That way it's easy to access. I'll have to go up a few levels, grab it, and come back down here, and then go back up, so on and so forth. So I'm going to pause for 1 second, because this guy here is telling a story. He's one of our dwarves. You can see the little story book over his head. So he's telling a story, and is he listening? Yeah, and this guy's listening. So pretty cool stuff you can kind of catch. If you know how to pay attention, you can really see some stories really develop right in front of your eyes. It's very awesome. Super cool to see. It gives some life to your fortress, because Dwarf Fortress has never been all about the graphics. They've obviously improved it greatly, depending on your opinion on it. But I mean, I think it's a great improvement to open it up to kind of the masses a little bit. But yeah, it's never been about the graphics. It's about the storytelling and knowing how the simulation works. So one of the other things the other zones that you're going to want access to, and I'm just going to go ahead and just drag a few things out here while I talk, is let me see the best way to do this. I'm going to do it here. And I'm going to drag out these 4x4 zones here. And what we're going to do, actually, is we're going to turn these into temples, because dwarves want to worship. Well, most entities want to worship. and it's very important that they have access, a safe space to kind of do that. Um, we're gonna just put these offset here. That's fine. I mean, normally I like to set it up where the doorway is right in the middle of the zone, but that's fine. And we're gonna make a bunch of them, like a bunch. And depending on world gen situations, civilization situations, um, the population that you have in your fortress, you may find that you're going to have many different randomly generated deities that your guys follow. Hey, we got our migrants as predicted. We'll see how many we got. We were at 7, so we'll check on that in just a moment. Um, but yeah, so you want to make sure you have some temples set up. Now, in a pinch, at the very beginning, you can set up one temple zone and set it. You'll see that you can pick the deity that they worship there, and you can pick just non-specific. Just it's whoever wants to come here and worship whoever is fine, no judgment. Eventually, though, they will want you, at least ideally, they will want you to provide an individual temple for each individual god that they want to worship. So I like to just set that up early. I do set up one anyways, just for weird buggy things that have happened in the past. I like to make one generic temple as well, and then I also make one for all the specific deities as well. So we'll talk about that. So first of all, we need to make a door. So we're gonna go ahead and add some doors here for the ones that have the doorways chopped out already. Pause. I didn't mean to do that. Oh yeah, we apparently acquired a bird that can lay eggs. So DF hack gave us a little warning there. In fact, that reminds me real quick, while we're waiting on this, I'm going to go ahead and go to the surface level. I'm going to go to our pasture here, and migrants will bring animals with them. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the animals I want here. Actually, I don't want to do this button. I want to do the DF hack assign is way better. And I want to only have grazers. And you can see here we have 2 animals that have joined. We have a baby alpaca, and then we have a cavi pup here that we're also going to assign. There's probably more animals that were brought. For example, I know that one of them brought, I believe it looked like a peacock or a peahen or something like that. I just saw it down there, but they do not graze. They're not a grazer. So if I actually turn this off or actually exclude, we'll see. We have, let me see here. We have a gosling, a guinea hen. So there's a guinea hen. That's what I saw. We have a blue peachick, so probably a baby of one of these. Bunch of cats, or a couple cats, a couple dogs, a couple sows, and a boar. So we have all that. Again, none of these need grazing, so we don't really worry about them. But the ones that need grazing, we want to always look at and make sure that we get them penned, because if not, they will starve. Again, DF Hack's great for that. It will give you a warning and let you know what's going on, which is super awesome. Let's set up the rest of our bedrooms while we're waiting for some of the other stuff to go on. So we'll just place some doors, and then we'll place our beds. Yeah, that's just going to be a small bedroom. Whoever gets that is just out of luck, man. I don't know what to say. Can't help the lake thing going on. Boop, 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 boop. Not the most exciting, I know. But it's got to be done. Someone's got to do it. And I guess it's me. Alright, got all that. Then we're going to build furniture bed, BFB. I'm hitting there. And again, I like to kind of line it up at the back, lined up with the door. Do it however you want. Placement does not matter. Orientation does not matter. I moved up twice for some reason. You just want to get them in the room. Oh, see, that drives me nuts though, so we're not going to do that. Cancel. BFB. Beds in there. And later on, you can add more furniture to make them, even happier. And then remember from last episode, we're going to place bedroom. We're going to click on multi, and then we're just going to highlight all the ones that we can. And it will kind of auto create them for us, which is super handy. Over here. I didn't mean to right click out of that. Hopefully that didn't just mess up my zones. We'll check in a second. I don't think it will, but no, they're all created. It's great. And then we'll set up these right here. These didn't have any furniture in them, so they didn't auto kind of complete. You have to have at least the furniture planned for it to auto complete. At least with my current setup. So, and then yeah, the other things you can add a chest, and you can add like a wardrobe. Again, wardrobe, they store extra clothes, makes sense. And a chest, just any other little trinkets they might acquire, they will they will place them there. So and oftentimes it gives them a happy thought. So nothing wrong with doing that. Do we not have? Let me pause real quick. Did we not set up tables? Okay, we did not. So we're gonna go ahead and set up some work orders for our tables and chairs. Again, kind of using our knowledge from last episode. We're gonna want a rock I can spell table. You can make these tables out of anything. Rock is pretty generic. Keeps things simple. So again, we're going to set it to 1. We're going to set our conditions. So rock tables is less than, I don't know, 5 is fine. And that we have at least 10 non-economic rock, hard rock, I should say. And there we go. And then we need the same thing for chairs, which are going to be called thrones. That is something that always throws off newbies to the game. The nomenclature here is a little bit weird. So if you're looking for chairs, you're not going to find it. You're going to find thrones. That's what you're looking for. Even though in the menus are called chairs. Just one of those quirky things. We're going to add both these conditions here. Chairs. Chairs, I'm going to go with 10. We use chairs a little bit more often. So yeah, and we'll leave the rock, non-economic hard rock at the standard 10 as well. And we're happy with that. While we're here, let's go ahead and just queue up a few other things. We're going to queue up our rock. Is it a chest? No, coffer is what it's called. Oops. Coffer, and then our... Forget if it's not a wardrobe. What is it called? Well, let me just look. I always forget the name of it. Oh, I can't scroll right now. There we go. Table statue slab. Of course, I'm gonna look over it like 5 times before I find it. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. I even know like the shortcut for it. Cabinet. It's called. There we go. The rock cabinet. All right. So we're gonna set this to how many empty coffers we have. We'll go with like 8. I don't know, just something that's not quite the generic 10. That's all I'm going to care about there, and I'm going to drop this down to 1, of course, so we don't queue up too much time. And then rock cabinet, again, get it down to 1. And we're going to do the same thing, empty, and then the non-economic hard rock. And again, set it to 8. It's fine, just to get off the standard 10. And that should be good. So we got a few extra things queued up there. So let's go ahead and resume time again. That's why these little clocks are showing up. So I probably should have caught that a little bit earlier, but it's fine. These things happen. Again, that's not a super critical thing. We already have the zone set up. They're happy enough. Oh, looks like someone's simulating an instrument as looks like they were doing some sort of poetry or song or something. It's pretty cool. Again, check out your taverns. They're awesome. I mean, there's just so much going on there that you can miss. People just telling great stories, poetry, stealing stuff. It never ends. But you gotta look for it. You can't just expect the game to get. I've you'll see people all the time. Oh yeah, I heard about Dwarf Fortress. Like makes these great stories, but like doesn't happen with my fort. It's like, well, you gotta know where to look. Placing a container here. So BFH here to place our chest. I like to put a chest in every temple. Guess we'll put them all in the same kind of spot. We're not going to mirror it. This is a place where they may store instruments. Again, part of worshiping some of the gods, they have instruments and whatnot. So that's important. Also statues sometimes I'll put in there. I like putting an offering place here. So increases the value of the rooms in which they're placed. But you have to make the offering places first. Okay, so if I go and place this, okay, it's just gonna say, all right, we don't have anything here. So again, you gotta make sure you go and queue up in order. So let's go ahead and do that. So pause real quick, and let's set up and I don't think they're called offering places again. This is one of those weird things. I believe it's a pedestal, if I'm not mistaken. I do sometimes get them mixed up with the display cases, which sometimes might be a pedestal, but we're gonna queue them up anyways, just so we have it. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. And I'm just going to set this to like 5 because we don't use this a whole lot. And let me make sure I'm right with that real quick. I think I'm right, but we'll take a look in a second and see if this gets placed once the order gets kind of sorted. You can see our tables are starting to get placed in here, some chairs, so people are going to be a little bit happier here. I'm also going to put a little container spot here. I'm going to put it right here. And they should end up filling this with mugs or instruments or anything useful that they may need to put in there. Hey, oh, okay. I thought it was a baby was born, but yeah, that's just an animal growing up. So there's that. All right, let's set up our zones in the meantime while we're waiting for our offering places to get created. I am keen to see if I did that right. I could be wrong. I'm a little rusty on this one. Again, just trying to be honest. All right, so let's set up our temples here. The way you set up a temple is actually through the meeting area zone. So I'm going to go to meeting area, and again, I can't multi-click here, which is a little bit annoying, but they're a little more complex. There's a lot more options. I'm just going to pick this first one right here, and I'm going to go ahead and lay out the area, hit accept, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click assign a new or existing location to the zone, and then we're going to click on temple. And then this is where you get your list of, okay, which god or goddess do you want to select? I didn't mean to do that. Let me go ahead and just delete this zone. Try that again. I just misclicked there. That was my bad. So click here, accept, and then we're going to add the location, new temple, and then we have all of our options here for what we can pick. Now, what's cool is if you mouse over this, it's going to tell you, first of all, in this purpley pink color, they're going to tell you what are they the deity of. So Oboth over here is the deity of beauty. Adash is the deity of balance and fish, which is an interesting mix. Art and inspiration, so on and so forth, right? Pregnancy and children, and beautiful flowers, a nice name for it. Jewels, minerals, metals, crafts, creation. So yeah, and you're going to have a number of worshippers that are in your fort. So we have 4 worshippers of Oboth currently. 5 of Adash. One I saw that we had plenty of was this guy. Yeah, we have 8 here, and then this is the other one too. 3 worshippers for Shell, which is the god of nature, and then this one is fortresses, war, and death. If that doesn't sum up Dwarf Fortress right there, I don't know what to tell you. So we have that's our most. I think that's our most popular deity here in the fortress so far. So pretty interesting. But for now, we're gonna pick no specific deity. Again, anyone who wants to worship any god can come in here and worship. So we're gonna select that. It auto assigns a name, which of course you can go change. Over here, just click on the rename. You can type whatever. Inch of Dawns is fine with me. That's, whatever. And then again, just like our tavern, you can set it to be, is this only for your citizens? Is it for people who are staying in your fortress? Or is it for all travelers from anywhere? I'm going to leave it to all. People will come, different worshippers, scholars, things like that, depending on the zone, and they'll come visit. All right, so that's basically how you do it. I'm still not sure if I did this right, and I can't tell yet. Although I haven't seen a completed pedestal yet. It's going to move it a little bit up. Just a couple. Right after barrels. And see if it gets completed sooner rather than later and placed. Because we do only have, if I'm not mistaken... Yeah, we only have our 1 mason shop. I'm going to go ahead and build another. It's always a good idea. The stoneworker shop, not mason. That's old DF talking right there. But yeah, building another one will allow you to kind of build a couple things kind of in serial as opposed to one after the other, or in parallel, I should say. Rock table. Yeah, see, you're going to make the pedestal here, so that kind of helps things out. Whereas you have 4 jobs queued up here, so it should eventually kind of balance out a little bit the jobs. So plenty of bedrooms. 14 dwarves we ended up with, so our first migrant wave had 5. Is fine. We have no one, not a single dwarf is below the sort of content kind of whatever feeling. No one is in the bad range, which is great. Again, a large part of that is because of this zone that I set up, which I'm actually going to delete now because now we have a couple other zones. Again, dwarves will automatically, like if they're idle, will flock to a meeting zone. We have enough meeting zones now between the inn or tavern and our temple down here that they're going to find a place to go, and our animals will also kind of just idle there as well. So again, keeping them out of the rain is an important sort of like early game tactic just to keep happiness kind of up, because if you leave them on the surface like that, they get rained on, snowed on, whatever, they're going to be grumpy. Sleeping outside, things like that. Dwarves want to be underground, right? All right, so we're getting some things built here. Let's see if that ends up in here, and it looks like it's not. So yeah, I believe I queued up the wrong job, and I'm going to have to look at what that job is. It's an altar. That's what it is. I knew I was getting it wrong, but we figured it out. So we have the pedestals, which is fine. I'm going to edit the number of them, because this is where we're going to display some of our super awesome items that our dwarves make when they get into a special mood. We'll talk about that when it happens. Hasn't happened yet. It should happen fairly early on, although I have had some playthroughs where it takes a couple of years before anyone sort of falls into a mood and wants to make a special sort of construction. So yeah, we're gonna make rock altars, and again, same thing. We'll just set it up. We don't need 10. I'm gonna set it to like 4, and then we'll place them as we get them. And then I'm just gonna increase the priority. Oops, a little bit. Put it over the pedestals. Pedestals really don't need to be a high priority thing right now, so we'll just lower it. And yeah, let's go ahead and place the rest of our altars here, which again, they're called offering places here in this menu. Just place them right along the door. Sometimes I put a table in these. And if I'm not mistaken, it is not required to have the altar, but I think it just fits, right? Like role-playing wise, right? Like you gotta have an altar at your temple. So there we go. So one of our altars was made, and they're now going to bring it, and it's, of course, going to be called an offering place instead of an altar. And there it goes. And boom. All right, let's set up the rest of our zones, and then we'll be pretty happy with what we have set up here. The nice thing here, or the tough thing here, I should say, if you don't have DFAC, is remembering which deity you're leaving off when you're clicking, because I do like to make one for everyone. You could min-max this and go with, okay, I have 8 guys who worship this guy. I'm gonna place it first, but then I find it confusing as to which ones I have, which ones I don't. And again, with the hack, you have the hide established, right? So you can just turn that on, and it's like, okay, you already have one with this, so we're gonna leave it off the list. I'm just gonna go kind of one by one here and place each one this way. But again, there are more efficient ways, and I just want you to know that there's better ways to do it. So, especially with DFAC. Whoops, I didn't mean to close the zone. Creation screen. Let's just keep going. Temple. There. Another one. Over here. It's okay. There's a little overlap. It's fine. The game sorts that out without any problems. A beautiful flower. Hopefully I made enough to get down to the super popular one. Otherwise, we may have some problems. Although, honestly, it's generally not a huge deal early on, but it just like is another one of those just sort of debuffs to everything, happiness debuff, and you don't need that. You have enough problems. You're gonna have enough problems, believe me. Yeah, you don't need that. Did I save? This is where I want to do this. All right, we're just gonna do it this way. Again, DFAC, saving lives. Oh, great. Right when I misclick, we get the autosave. It's okay. We can expand it. Not a big deal. That means we are headed into autumn, it looks like. So we're getting pretty close to winter. We did set up our trade depot. If you have not done that, you need to get that done, because you're going to get the liaison visiting right before winter. So it's sometime in the autumn, usually pretty early on. And that's when you can trade some things, and we'll cover that next episode, but where you can trade some things and also tell them what you want next year, what you expect from them next year. So pretty awesome stuff there. Keep this on here. So Fimshell is our famous one here with 8. So that's good. We got that one done. And let's just keep going. So many buttons to click. It is a little overwhelming at first. I did not mean to do that. I deleted it. That was weird. I guess you can't delete it from that view. Accept. Temple. Established on. Shalls are I believe our next most popular one. I went through in between episodes, just took a look at who everyone worshipped, and that seemed to be the case. So there's that. Oh, turn on. The Sect of Twilight. Interesting. Just Sect of Twilight. Very cool. So yeah, it looks like we're going to need a few more zones. That's fine. This will at least keep most people happy early on. I'm not too concerned about it. 1, 1, 1, and 1. Yeah, so... and those could be the same person. Like, one person can worship multiple deities. So that's a thing. Not a big deal. Not a free, yeah, nest boxes. I know it's gonna keep reminding me of that. You can turn that off again. Dwarf DF hack is its own thing that we can look at later on how to customize it to your liking. So here we have like sort of our for lack of a better term, our zone, right? Like our zone layer, where we have some of the needs getting taken care of. So up here we have our workshop where they're going to be being productive and sleeping and things like that. And then just one level down, one Z level down, they got where they can eat and hang out and chill. And then they got their temples where they can worship as they need. So pretty awesome. So yeah, so we covered zones pretty in depth there. Again, the idea of making it, we've got a nice little warning here I'll talk about in a second, but the idea of making the zone specific to just your fortress citizens, to people who fortress citizens but also like visitors, and then like visitors from anywhere, right? Like you know, from wherever. Pros and cons to all of them. Again, opening up to everybody opens you up to all kinds of crazy people. Anyone who enters your fortress, whether it be a migrant or someone just visiting, could be like a werebeast or something, and that can very quickly end up ending your fort. So you want to, you know, just weigh those pros and cons, because, you know, for one, you get a better story. I think when you know, more flavor. You know, we have a magpie man bard, you know, within the first year in our fortress, which is awesome. But that guy could be a criminal, and he could be trying to, you know, find some stuff out, or be a scout for someone or whatever. And it's hard to know that because there are disguises that they have. We don't see everything for fact. We see it just based on what we know, what they've told us. Which is pretty cool. You could have vampires coming into your fortress, which they of course have in the game, and things like that. So hopefully we'll run into some of that stuff, which is because A, it's exciting, and B, losing is fun. But also just to show you, you know, what can happen, how do you fix it if you can, because let's face it, it's Dwarf Fortress. Sometimes you're screwed. You're not going to be able to recover from it, and you just have to kind of enjoy that ride. It looks like we got a little pop-up here introducing the fact that our liaison for our sort of like our what's the word, civilization, I was trying to say citizen, but yeah, civilization, they have come by and they're like, hey, you guys, you know, you came out here on your expedition, you set up a fortress, let's see what you got, trade with us, whatever, and then tell us what you want next year, because we're going to go back, chill for the winter, and then we'll be back. So we'll talk about that next episode. So if you're looking for trade, definitely check that out, especially for DF hack, because trading in regular Dwarf Fortress is such a pain in the butt. I complain about it nonstop, but DF hack has set up a new trade screen. It's going to be awesome. So thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully this tutorial series is helping you out a little bit. Let me know if there's anything specific I missed you want me to go over. I'm trying to give like a really honest assessment. I'm not claiming to be like the be all and end all of knowledge. There's a lot of other guys that are out there, people that do a great job with that. I'm just trying to give like my, you know, sort of layman's perspective. I've been playing for a long time, but I'm by no means a like complete expert. So let me know if there's anything I missed, anything I didn't do so well, or you have different ways you do things. I always like to change the way I do things and see the way you guys do it. So let me know. Again, thanks for watching. See you next time.